Bridesmaids, groomsmen of Reddit. What's the most ridiculous request you had to endure for the couple's big day? Got asked to stand up for a wedding during culinary school for a high school friend. She said she didn't want us to buy presents, but wanted us to help with various wedding things since it was a backyard wedding. Like someone help with the flowers, another do favors, table setting, etc. She wanted to know if I could help with dinner. I said sure, and asked her what she wanted help with, figuring it was prep work for someone else to do. No. She wanted me to handle the whole dinner, as in cooking for 200 people. As a 19-year-old having only done a year culinary school. She also wanted me to help pay for the food I'd be making. As their gift, she wanted me to make Caesar salad, potatoes au gratin, and roast enough ducks for 200 by myself, and pay for about half of it. I was learning how to be a pastry chef. I explained and she just stared at me blankly. I told her I could do the cake easily enough, but she insisted she wanted a real cake from a bakery. I told her there wasn't any feasible way I could do it. Not only because that's fucking crazy, but because I literally wasn't trained to do it. And I got disinvited from the wedding. They apparently served bagged salad, boxed potatoes and roasted chicken from Walmart. The groom asked me to keep an eye on his tux for signs of dandruff. He had a bad case of it at the time. I told him to choose a light colored tux, but the bride insisted the guys wear black, a color that, of course, showed every particle of dandruff. So I placed a small brush in my pocket, and every so often would dust him off as discreetly as possible throughout the day. My friend decided to get married at a resort in Aspen. We don't live in Colorado and he wasn't offering to pay for flight, hotel, tux, etc. for anyone except him and his wife. They were broke 23-year-olds just like us. Neither parents had the money either. It was noon wedding and a 2-hour reception immediately following. That's it. Everyone fly home. The bride and groom didn't even stay the night. He got so mad at me when I told him we won't be able to make it. 5 years later he still doesn't talk to me. My friends were getting married, and my girlfriend and I were both in the wedding party. The bride's mother suggested that my girlfriend get hair extensions to be in the wedding to not ruin the photos for her daughter. My girlfriend has very short hair, because she has Graves' disease. Her hair has become very brittle and started falling out in clumps. I'm sure it wasn't intended to be rude, but telling somebody that have to put on a wig because you don't think they look good enough to be in your daughter's photos seems pretty terrible to me. Outdoor wedding with no backup plan on the shores of Lake Michigan. Pouring rain and wind, but the happy couple requested no umbrellas because they wanted to be able to see the faces in the crowd. They were able to see the very wet and angry faces of people whose clothes were ruined while the bride and groom stayed dry under the gazebo. Bridesmaid to my sister. She demanded that I grow my fringe, bangs, out months before because quote I don't want anyone's hair blowing in the wind. It all has to stay perfectly still. Also, I'm quite pale so she insisted I had to wear fake tan. I originally bought a pale tan color but the morning of the wedding she made me pile it on. It was pretty hot that day so subsequently, it stained my pale pink dress. Was still an amazing wedding regardless. Also, I like to think that when I get married I have 2 ridiculous request cards. 2 things she has to do and I'll bring up her wedding if she refuses. My sister just came home from a weekend trip to Miami that the bride demanded she attend. Why Miami, you may ask? To get drunk and spend time in the sun and party all night? Apparently not. She forced her bridal party to go to Miami on their own dime, to go to some spas and be in bed by 10. She also only booked 2 hotel rooms with 1 bed each for 8 women. I advised my sister to get some better friends. In college I was a best man for a wedding where the bride demanded we all wear designer suits. I had to sell a guitar to afford just the rental. I had no money before, and after I had no money and one less guitar. Then at the reception the groom pulled me aside and told me it was my job as best man to make sure their marriage went well. I was supposed to check in and help them with marriage stuff to make sure they didn't get divorced. I looked him in the eye and said I can't be responsible for your marriage. He didn't talk to me from that second until just a couple months ago. 6 years after his wedding. I was the best man for my brother's wedding. I'll never forget the following directions he gave me. Hey butcher, just like Vlad. I need you to go put the flowers in the car. Call the photographer. And find my suit. I'm going to go shotgun 2 beers while I take a sheet. Not totally ridiculous. But it still makes me laugh. $500 pants. After I refused, the bride freaked because it made the wedding party uneven. Groom bought my pants. I wore them once. They divorced. He seems a lot happier with his new wife. My best friend asked me to dye my hair from blonde to brown. Because her other bridesmaids all had brown hair and she wanted to be the only one with blonde hair. She did pay for me to get it done at a professional salon. So I didn't mind too much. And her photos did look amazing after. However, I definitely have a few friends who thought I was crazy for agreeing to that request. I can see that going either way. If she paid for all of it and would have been okay if you refused. I can see it as being a fun request. If she would have flipped sheet if you refused. Then yeah. Crazy. The bride bought us all earrings to wear on the day. I was met with a blank look when I told her the holes in my ears were closed over a while ago. So one of the other bridesmaids, who happens to have quite a weak stomach for this kind of thing, and I went into the other room and re-pierced my ears. Edit, it was years ago in the morning of. And I was in my early 20s at the time. I'm pretty sure it'd be a different outcome if I was asked to do it today. I'm from Asia and I went to college in US. I was shocked when I found out that bridesmaids there have to pay for their own dresses. So if the bride told you to wear this specific dress from Vera Wang, you actually had to pay for it yourselves? And I think plane tickets, edit, for bridesmaids and groomsmen, are also not provided if it's a destination wedding. It's so bizarre. It was my wife who was one of the bridesmaids. The couple was way oversexed or trashy. I'm not sure which. But they wanted the entire wedding party to do a group pic in just their lingerie boxes, except the bride and groom. Of course, she noped out of that, but apparently the other 2 girls and the groomsmen went for it. They still did the pic anyhow. Then they wanted the groomsmen and maids to pair up and kiss for a picture. None of them knew each other. Apparently she was the only one who didn't. Then they basically shamed her for opting out of both of those to the point she came and found me crying. So we went home. It wasn't one single request but more other an unreasonable accumulation of requests that have added up. I am a bridesmaid in a wedding for a friend out who moved to another city 5 hours away. And she and the maid of honor just keep planning event after event that all the bridesmaids are expected to attend. Had to drive in for her wedding dress shopping and bridesmaid dress shopping. They planned a 3-day long bachelorette party in a 3rd city. She's having 2 bridal showers. Her wedding is at a resort in yet another town where we'll have to take a 3-day weekend to get there, and there is only one expensive hotel option. And of course, I also have to pay for my own dress, shoes, makeup, hair, and jewelry that she picked. Oh, and the whole bridal party is making her extra DIY style nostalgia presents as well as the regular wedding present I'm expected to bring. So I have to buy craft supplies, which aren't cheap, and sheet for a fancy scrapbook, photo album, letter book, wedding day emergency kit, and a bunch of other shit the maid of honor keeps thinking up. All of the things sound normal and reasonable until you start adding up the costs. $2,500 minus $3,000. I had a teeny tiny super considerate wedding when I got married. And to be a bridesmaid in this wedding is literally costing me more than my entire tiny wedding. I do recognize that it's not an entirely fair comparison when mine was unusually small. But I think spending less than $3,000 to be in someone else's ducking wedding is a fair expectation. I 100% regret accepting being a part of her bridal party, and I would never do it again except for my sister. It's a huge honor to be asked, but I simply can't afford it. A slight twist to the question. I'm the bride. I had told people my wedding date almost a year ago. One of my friends messages me a few months ago asking me if I could change my wedding date, cause another of her friends just set her wedding date for 3 weeks before. She told me it'd be great if she could attend both of our weddings in one trip. My future sister-in-law has made it very clear that she wants her bachelorette party to be a week in California. We live in New Jersey. That means I would have to take a week off from work. My husband would have to take a week off from work to stay with our children. I would have to pay for my airfare and hotel and all the week's activities, and pay my share for her. Since everyone knows the bride doesn't pay for anything on her bachelorette party. When I said I'd have to see if it's something that we could make work, she basically just said, well, only the people that really love me will be there. I'm only going to get married once, so I have every right to be selfish. Good luck marrying that one. Best man here. Wedding is in 2 weeks. I am not allowed to drink any alcohol until the reception because I turn a deep shade of scarlet. Bride doesn't want to have a tomato in the wedding photos. I'm Korean, and to be fair, I understand. I know there are remedies, but I don't want to chance anything on their day. I was incredibly amused when my best friend awkwardly tried to relay this to me. You're her husband-to-be's best friend and those pictures are for forever. She wants you guys to look good. This one I actually get. We went to their Jack and Jill bachelorette party in Atlantic City on Labor Day weekend. Cost a fortune for the room. He got pissed when I wouldn't gamble after paying for his steak dinner and expensive scotch. Then got loaded. Got into a fight at the nightclub and disappeared. Yeah, we don't hang much anymore. I have 2 items to add. 1. Get told on Friday night that I am the best man for a Sunday wedding. That was a tough one as I had to come up with a toast and do all the rest of the sheet. I managed to get good and drunk prior to the toast and still did a much better job than the bridesmaid who gave a very generic toast. 2. Just recently. Friend of over 25 years tells me a week out that he is getting married in Vegas. I tell him I cannot make it due to multiple facts. One of them being that I just blew my knee out and am on crutches. Now he won't speak to me and calls me pompous. BC, I don't like Vegas. Duck M. My sister addressed my invite to me and a male friend I had known for about 10 years. A male friend whom she had always had a huge crush on. Even better was that I had been dating my boyfriend for 2 years at this point, and my male friend was engaged. When I asked my sister why she put my friend as my +1 and not my boyfriend, she said that she didn't want some random guy in her wedding pictures. I went to her wedding solo. No surprise. She and her husband divorced 2 years later, and I have been happily married to that random guy now for 15 years. My friend forced her entire bridal party to write a speech for the rehearsal dinner. I couldn't enjoy the dinner. I was so nervous, but managed to sputter something out after 3 glasses of wine. Some of the others were so uncomfortable. They were either a few seconds long or had uncomfortable moments of silence. She also wanted the bridesmaids to perform a dance routine. I noped out of that one though. For our wedding, we wanted everyone to enjoy themselves. Knowing my sister and his brother would be so nervous, we said no one had to give a speech. By the end of the night, we'd received 2 spontaneous speeches from groomsmen, which was nice. My college roommate invited me to his wedding in Vegas. I live in Colorado, so attending this wedding already required me to travel and pay for a hotel. The invitation specified that the group should book their reservation at ARIA under a certain group code to receive a discounted rate. Their discounted room rate at ARIA is over $300 a night. When I told him I simply could not afford to pay for round-trip flights and a hotel room for 3 nights at $300 a night, he flipped his sheet. He said that we all needed to be in the same hotel for ease of plans or some shit like that. He expected me, then 24-year-old female, to come out to his wedding in Vegas alone and pay over $300 a night for accommodations. The kicker? He did not even give me a +1. I later found out that the groom was so pushy about everyone staying at Aria because the bride and groom received a free hotel room if 7 hotel rooms were booked under their discount code. It was really scummy of them to pressure their friends into booking expensive hotel rooms at their destination wedding and lie about the reasoning. Anyway, the bachelor party is scheduled for the night before the wedding. The groomsmen had put a lot of effort into planning an awesome bachelor party and they had pre-purchased tickets for everything. Well, the groom is simply a no-show for his own bachelor party. So I got to attend the bachelor party in the groom's absence, which was pretty awesome. We had a blast. Also, the night after the wedding the bride was kicked out of the Britney Spears concert for trying to climb on the stage. I can include the group text screenshots for that whole fiasco if anyone is interested. My girlfriend was supposed to be a bridesmaid for a friend. But we found out about a week or 2 before the wedding that my girlfriend's mom, who lived in the same state as the wedding, not where we live, was terminally ill and didn't have much time left. We decided to spend that weekend with mom instead. And not once did the friend ask how my girlfriend was doing, if she needed anything. Nothing. Just pestered her for the dress which my girlfriend bought so her replacement could wear it. Way to throw away a friendship. I've got a pretty good one. My better half was a maid of honor about a year ago. I call her Firefly. When our friends got engaged, Firefly weighed just shy of 300 pounds but had started exercising and eating better. About 6 months into the engagement and 2 months before the wedding, Firefly was told to stop all exercise and healthy eating. She had lost almost 75 pounds at this point and the bride claimed she wanted to make sure her dress fit. Realized the fitting was to be done a month before the wedding and Firefly offered to pay for any alterations needed. And to speak off topic, she now is at a healthy weight and continues going to the gym a few times a week. I am very proud of her.